So the WNBA has a violence problem. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And this is it has a referee problem, sure. But legitimately, the WNBA, though, I will say, has a genuine violence problem. And it's not just Caitlin Clark, it's not just Angel Reese, it is a league-wide thing that needs to be addressed. But before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. Thank you guys for 6,000 subscribers. We're on the road to 10k right now. But anyway, now let's get on to the video. So anyway, obviously, we are watching this unfold. We are watching basketball that is barely basketball. That's all I'm going to say. We are watching a sport that vaguely resembles the sport of basketball. And you might be saying, oh, you're just so used to the NBA. If you know anything about me, the vast majority of basketball I watch is of a lower level than the WNBA. The vast majority of basketball I'll watch the Irish League more often than any other league in the world. The Irish League, standard of the Irish League is not very good. And I will double down on that by saying I played in the league, so it's obviously not that great of a standard. Some good players like Seventh Woods and stuff played last year, and some good players in the second tier as well, but like all around, not the greatest standard in the world. You're even seeing some players come out just talking about, or not some players, some people come out talking about the fact that this is just ridiculous. Like, there was a tweet here from Lily Murray, who's like D1 volleyball player. Her dad was an NBA player. She's been talking about how, why do people want the league to be overly physical? And like, what's the, and also that there are so many players that were just like herself. Like, obviously she's taller than me, was a D1 volleyball player, dad played in the NBA, but never played basketball just because it was unbelievably physical. And there was just no point in playing it. And that seems to be the way women's basketball in America is, which is ridiculous because college basketball has gone away from that. And because of that, you're seeing the likes of Paige Beckers being able to excel. You saw Caitlin Clark being able to excel. You're seeing these guards being absolutely able to excel. The only guards that really excel in the WNBA are the ultra aggressive, head down, straight to the basket and faster than everybody guards. And you might be saying, what about Arika Ogunbowale? Cool. Have you seen her shooting percentages? She shoots worse than Caitlin Clark. She had a 7 of 30 game a couple of weeks ago. She is the biggest shot chucker I've ever seen. Men or women. So it's going to be very difficult for guards to excel. You're seeing Caitlin Clark struggle. You're going to see Paige Beckers struggle. You're going to see Juju struggle. So it's going to be taken out. They're going to be taken out of their game. And as well as that, you're looking at players getting intentionally cheap shot and intentionally hurt. Like Angel Reese, was it premeditated what happened with Jonquel Jones and what happened with Alyssa Thomas? Jonquel Jones just shouldering in the back on a fast break, Alyssa Thomas choke slamming her. Were either of those premeditated, like planned before the game? Probably not. But so they got frustrated and decided to basically try to injure a rookie. They basically tried to injure a rookie, which is ridiculous. And then, was the Kennedy Carter thing premeditated? I don't think that the Sky went out to try hurt Caitlin Clark, but I do think that they had been like built up and their emotions were so into it that the first chance any of them got to hurt Caitlin Clark, they took it. And I think that in a scenario where there were other players on the Chicago Sky team that might have done the same thing to Caitlin Clark in a similar enough scenario. But we then saw last night Skylar Diggins playing a rivalry game against the Seattle Storm. And she's playing defense. She jumps 2 hands in the air, is nowhere near the player, and Kalia Copper, instead of taking a layup, winds up an elbow, clocks her in the face. And this is a game where, like, the Seattle Storm Skylar Diggins and the Phoenix Mercury there's a beef there. The Mercury refused to let her she had to work out in the YMCA to get back in shape while on maternity leave because Seattle Storm, while she was under contract, refused to let her even use the facilities. Not just not practice with the team, refused to let her even use the facilities. Never heard of something like that happening before. But there was a beef there, and what happened? And why did that beef start even before that? Because her and Diana Taurasi didn't like each other, and obviously Taurasi wins in these scenarios. And not only was she not ejected for what looked like intentionally clocking her in the face with an elbow, it was given as an and one. It was called as an and one. She got cheap shotted and given an and one against her. And then the referees tried to review the play. They in the end gave a technical foul, not a flagrant 2, not even a flagrant 1, which would have given free throws on the ball. They assessed a technical foul. Why did they assess a technical foul? Because by assessing a technical foul, they were allowed to give the and one. There was no foul. There was no foul. Skylar Diggins-Smith jumped two hands straight up in the air, was nowhere near Kahleah Copper. Kahleah Copper's taking life. The only contact was Kahleah Copper's elbow to Skylar Diggins-Smith's face. According to the referees, she faced her elbow. She smacked her elbow with her face, so therefore it's an and one. And it was the offhand elbow as well. She finished with her right and clocked her with her left. Because she hit her elbow with her face, because there's no contact otherwise. They went to the monitors, and they deemed it an actual call. So this just proves one thing, like, obviously these players are out to get each other. They are playing, and it's not overly physical. And this is what I always say, is things can be physical, but if it's not controlled, eventually it gets to the point where someone's going to get hurt. And if you keep letting more and more stuff go, people are going to push the line further and further and further and further. And that's the issue with what's been happening in the WNBA this year, is that it's getting more physical instead of when it should be getting less physical. So the league is doubling and tripling down. Very clearly, this is what the refs are not being told to call anything. So what I'm guessing is happening is people are like wanting this league to be soft. We're going to show that it's a tough league. And now you're seeing on a near nightly basis someone getting cheap shotted. Or someone getting hit with an incredibly hard foul. And the difference between that and what happens in the NBA, people are like, oh, it happens in the NBA all the time, is that a lot of times cheap shots or unbelievably hard fouls are not even given as fouls. Like Caitlin Clark, I know obviously it's it's one example. Plenty of players have been cheap shotted or been hit hard this year, but like she has been the worst as far as the referees calling it. Like with the Angel Reese stuff, at least they're getting called. Caitlin Clark got punched in the throat and got given a technical foul herself. Like, she got punched in the throat. Vivian's tried to square up to her, and she didn't back down, so they got double teed. Like, the referees, not only are they not protecting their players, the referees and this league want their players to get hurt. And this is not just Caitlin Clark, this is not just Angel Reese, this is not just Skylar Diggins-Smith. It is the way the game is being refereed. It can happen to literally any player on the floor. It can happen to any player on any game. In the NBA, there are things that will be given as a flagrant one. In the NBA, the Magbador versus Caitlin Clark block, where Magbador kind of, like, she blocked the shot, no foul, followed through with her elbow and knocked Caitlin Clark in the face. That is a flagrant one in the NBA. Excessive contact, even if it's not meant. Intent does not matter, and the NBA are very clear. A lot of contact around the head means you have to look at it, and intent does not matter. If you hit someone in the head with your elbow, it is a flagrant one. Why is that a call? To keep the players safe. In the WNBA, it's a non-call. There is no rules. The referees are not trying to keep the players safe. They're not even trying to ref the games properly. Their job is, I don't know. At the end of the day, the first thing a referee is meant to do, like, over everything, over making the right calls, the main purpose of a referee in any sport is to keep the players safe. That is why there are rules a lot of the time. That is why there are fouls. That is why there are flagrants. It is to keep the players safe. And the WNBA referees fundamentally fail that in every way. They do not keep the players safe. And they're not even trying to. They're making it obvious they don't give a damn about keeping the players safe. They don't give a damn about player safety. So why is this happening? Why is it that all these fans... Do you want to know why? Because these WNBA players who got beaten up as rookies, these WNBA players who got beaten up throughout their early careers, these retired WNBA players who got beat up throughout their whole careers are like, you know what, this is the way it has to be. The fact that a lot of the all-time greats, your Taurasis of the world, were cheap shot artists. Like, Taurasi was a cheap shot artist. No question about that. Like, these players got beat up, and because of that, they want the future players to get beat up. When in reality, it should have never been a case. It should have always been about the basketball. The basketball was all that matters, and that's why NCAA women's basketball picked up so much, because the basketball's gotten good. The problem is now is that fans are tuning into WNBA, and they're seeing every single game someone get hit hard, and not even that, like, because it's being encouraged. And I'm saying it, if you knock someone in the face, knock them to the ground, and it's given as a regular foul, and you shake them up, that is encouraging it. Just giving it as a regular foul is encouraging it, because if you knock someone, they're not going to go in again. If you are trying to shake somebody up, it should be a flagrant one. Excessive contact. It is in the rules for a reason. These referees don't give a damn about the rules of basketball. They don't give a damn about the player safety. And it's the league's fault more than anything. Because there's no way if the league referees were told. We're all brought in and we're like, you need to focus more on player safety. You got to watch this stuff. You got to be a little bit more trigger happy with calls. You got to make sure that if somebody looks like they're going to be targeted, if it looks like it's intentional contact, call more flagrants. We just need to clean this game up because it's no longer being about the basketball. Whereas it seems like in the last 2 weeks, the more discourse there is, the more talk there is about cheap shots, the more there are. Obviously, there always was. It was a physical league. People are showing these clips of things being like, oh, this is what happened to like Candace Parker, this is what happened to players, and talking about it like it's a good thing. Like there's brawls have broken out and people are like, oh yeah, one technical foul. It's like, that's not a good thing for the sport of basketball. It's just not a good thing. So until the WNBA changes this, it's going to continue to lose fans. And I'm not saying it's going to continue to lose fans because, oh, Caitlin Clark's getting beat up. No, people do not want to watch. And if you're an old WNBA fan and you want to watch people get beat up for 4 quarters, games ending in the 70s, and the only players that are able to be effective in the league are spot-up 3-point shooters and inside players, cool. But there's a reason why the league wasn't getting viewers. There's a reason why no matter what they tried to do to promote the league, it didn't work. And there's a reason why college women's basketball has been doing so well. And it's not just Caitlin Clark. Because I guarantee you if Paige Beckers had came out this year instead of doing a 5th year in college and had been, let's just say, the 4th pick in the draft, whatever team, if she went to the Sparks would be almost as popular as the Fever. If Juju was allowed to go one and done, whatever team she landed to would be almost as popular as the Fever. And the problem is that I can guarantee you, because they're all guards, they will get beat up and suck as rookies. And a lot of people are like, oh, but like guards have to do all this. We all did this. We all had this rookie hazing. We all struggled. It doesn't just because it happened back then doesn't make it right now. And it doesn't mean that it's not good for the future of the game. Because if Caitlin Clark gets beat up so badly this year that her whole game changes, she stops shooting those 40 bomb threes and she becomes a pass first point guard, then people are going to tune out. If Paige Beckers comes in and is scared about hurting her knee again and refuses to become a 3-level scorer like she is and decides to not use all of her game because she's worried that, oh, if I go in and I'm in the air, someone's going to hit me and I'm going to hurt my knee again, and she just becomes a shell of herself and averages 5 points a game, yeah, sure, the WNBA vets are like, yeah, this is our league. We're going to make sure that this is a grown women's league. Yeah, these rookies aren't SH1T. It's terrible for the league. It's terrible for the league, and it is a symptom of the fact that this league has a violence problem. It is not solely Caitlin Clark getting cheap shot a problem. It is a league-wide violence problem. It's not this is a physical league, because there is a line between physical play and violence, and the WNBA crosses the line. I'm sorry, the WNBA crosses the line. There is physical play, which is like, you'll see at times in playoff basketball, you see it the way Lou Dort's guarding Luka, the way you'll see it sometimes in Europe, you'll see it sometimes overseas. There is physical play which is allowed in basketball. There is a line between physical play and violence and violent conduct that can hurt players. The WNBA has crossed that line into violence, and the fact is that I have a feeling that the league are going to double and triple down on this physicality, when in reality it's not physical. If somebody walks up to you, shoulders you or elbows you in the back and knocks you down, the referees call it as a common foul. That's not being physical. That's violent. That's violent conduct. What happened to Angel Reese in those 2 plays was violent conduct. And people forget about the Jonquel Jones one, where they're running down the floor, Angel Reese gets to the free throw line first, turns her back, and Jonquel Jones just shoulders her in the back. That is violent conduct. What happened to Skylar Diggins-Smith was violent conduct. Out of all 3 of those on the floor, these are the calls that were made. 4 violent conduct plays against players. On the floor, flagrant 1 on Alyssa Thomas. I know they upgraded it on the video monitor. The Jonquel Jones one, common foul, no review. The Caitlin Clark one, common foul, no review. The Skylar Diggins one, defensive foul. She elbowed Kalia Copper she faced Aaliyah Copper in the elbow. She hit Kalia Copper's elbow with her face. Defensive foul and 1. then upgraded to a technical foul, but the and one stood after they went to the monitor. So on the floor, a suspension-worthy challenge caused a flagrant 1. What should have been a flagrant 1 given as a common foul, potentially flagrant 2, what Jonquel Jones did to Angel Reese. Then what is without question a flagrant 2 and ejection to Kennedy Carter caused a common foul. And then what should have been a flagrant 1 at the least, potentially flagrant 2, because of the whole context about it, it looked intentional when it came to what happened to Skylar Diggins-Smith, not even given as an offensive foul. This league has a violence problem, and if the league aren't going to address it, we might as well talk about it, because eventually something has to stop. And I don't know, if they don't stop anything, people are going to stop watching.